Hello everyone, my name's Christopher. This is my daughter Charlotte. It's week number 2 of our master bedroom renovation. Here is what we've been doing. As we begin, this is, like I said, part of a whole series. There are video links in the description below for the whole playlist on everything that we've been doing. So, to begin, this closet was pretty... well, I was going to say pretty nasty, but really it wasn't terribly offensive. It had some wallpaper below the trim line, and it was old paint up on top, and we needed to get rid of that. We began our weekend Friday. After the very first video we put out, we took everything out of the closet, and it was time for the wallpaper to be gone. It wasn't too offensive or anything, it was just one of these things that we knew it was time to get rid of. So the first thing to do, protect the floor and then get rid of it. That meant using Diff, the product I like to use to get rid of wallpaper. I put out a how-to video, like how to use Diff and my techniques for wallpaper removal. You can check that out for something in detail if you want, but there's some footage of that. It's a pretty simple process, but tedious. Wallpaper removal is my least favorite homeowner job, I think. It's so putsy, you know? You have to spray, you have to wait, you have to scrape, you have to spray some more, you have to scrape some more. And then no matter what underneath, it's almost always like gross looking. So it seems like you're just making things worse and worse and worse, but that's how it is, you know? It's got to get worse looking before it gets better. So we did that, wallpaper removal. I'm in one closet, I'm in my closet. My wife's closet is right next to me, so everything we're seeing is done times 2. So Friday, was it Saturday? No, Saturday, took care of all the wallpaper. Then, underneath the wallpaper were a whole bunch of cracks in the plaster. We had cracks diagonally going up walls, we had cracks, big cracks at the seams of walls, tiny little cracks, big wide cracks, and they all needed to be taken care of. So I put out another how-to video on that, simple steps for drywall crack remediation. Some footage of that, of course, playing here too. You know, with cracks, you have to make them worse before you make them better. So you gotta widen the cracks with your chisel and then add the mud. In this case, I was taping instead of drilling holes and caulking in some adhesive. I do a caulk if it was a great big thing on like a bedroom wall, but these smaller cracks didn't need it. The tape was going to provide enough structure. A couple coats of mud, sanding in between, and I had probably 1.5 dozen cracks that I needed to take care of. So it was a lot of work. That was all of Sunday. Moving on to Monday, it was painting day. These were the thirstiest closets I have ever seen. They each took an entire gallon of paint. Just let that sink in, an entire gallon of paint. Now, I did the trim around the door on the inside, and of course the floor, and then the rails flat. But the walls themselves had a sand grit texture to it. So I added, it's just a little additive that you can add into a gallon at a time, depending on how gritty you want. The walls already had a grit texture to them, which is why I opted to go for this. I tested out the mud with a sponge to see if I could sponge it to give it a different kind of texture, but it was the wrong texture, you know what I mean? So the grit was good, and the nice thing about grit paint is it covers up anything that I didn't fix with the plaster, and it also has the plaster blend in. So I'm sitting here and it is very hard to see any of the cracks, any of the remediation that I did, which is nice. So it feels like a brand new house moving into this new closet. And this is where it finally starts to feel better, you know. It was tough on Monday. For some reason, here where the wallpaper was, the paint was just being weird. I've never experienced it. I'd roll it on, and within seconds, the paint would adhere to itself. But if I take the roller over it again, I would roll that layer of paint onto my brush and it would come off of the wall. And it was a nightmare. I thought, oh no, how am I gonna get this on? So I had to learn a new technique pretty quickly. The first coat was on and it immediately looked better, you know what I mean? But there was still stuff that needed to be done. I had to get in between. Oh, that's my dog downstairs. Like I said, there was still work that needed to be done, but the second coat of paint completely finished it off. I was able to do that just during my daughter's nap time, actually on Tuesday, so it took an hour for each closet, which was super quick because I didn't have to do any kind of cutting in, and I could just finish the corners with a brush, and the main swath of it was with the roller, and there was no problem this time getting the paint to adhere. It stuck to the first coat like you'd expect painting. All that I can think of is that maybe there was some sort of weird adhesive that was left over after I had taken the wallpaper off. I wasn't expecting that. I've never experienced that before. We've taken off a lot of wallpaper in this house alone, and just last month I took the wallpaper off of my mom's bathroom and did a white paint with grit finish just like this. Didn't experience that, so that's how any project is, you know? It will take longer than you expect, and there's always sort of some unknown that you can learn from, right? So, it was a good experience. Very satisfying. And I wish I could show you something more than just me sitting here in the closet. It's not very good for a camera angle. I'm trying to have some B-roll on top of me talking. It looks beautiful. It's very bright. I know what I can talk about. I can talk about the comments from the first week's video. Thank you. There were some pretty insightful comments left, and I'll address some of them. One comment talked about the light fixtures. We didn't show off any lights. Well, I decided to swap out the lights for LEDs. That was a good recommendation. But LED bulbs. I wasn't sure if that person was thinking of like LED light strips or something. That's not really our style. But the LED bulb is perfect. Another person thought of tearing out the middle wall. The doors on this wall are just too much. And to that, I didn't want to do any sort of major structural overhaul. We like the doors. Often of the four, these two are most likely open, you know, going into the hallway or going into the bathroom. And I'm on the Historic Landmarks Commission for the city of Oshkosh, and we like the nature of our historic home, and part of having a home is maintaining its historic integrity. So if I were to knock out these walls and take out these doors, I would be erasing a part of the house's history, and I am not for that. Plus, I don't want to monkey with anything that might be structural. You know, I doubt this little wall here has a structural support to it, but still. That was out of the scope of things that I was interested in. But I did stop for a second, read the comment, well, more than a second. I even talked about it with my wife. We talked about a lot of these together and realized that wasn't right for us. Besides, we're using this inner wall for different shelving that I'll be putting up later this weekend, which you'll see in next week's video, or brief bits in these new shorts that I'm doing that YouTube is recommending. So what's up for this weekend ahead? Because again, I'm trying to bulk things up, maybe spend a lot of time on these Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe Monday if I can. This next weekend, I'll be taking the doors off, taking off the handles and hinges. I'll be hopefully restoring those independently. They are old. There was a comment that said that they didn't look that old. They are the same as the doors I have in my basement that were taken off. So they're at least several decades old, if not original. I will be restoring them, and yes, it is a better option to take them off and finish them as opposed to try to finish them on the door. You're right, thank you. So my goal this weekend, take off the doors, redo the hinges, paint the doors, and then get into the master bedroom and paint all the trim. We've got trim around the windows and a floorboard, and that's all that I'll need to do for trim. Before I do that, there's a couple holes that I need to fill in, you know, where curtains used to be. But if I can get through all that, it'll feel like another successful weekend, and then the weekend after that, we'll be able to paint the walls. Or maybe even start this next weekend. I don't know. This sequence of things to do, this painting project before we get to the furniture building project. Oh, there was another comment regarding the room. I guess I'll talk about it now. Somebody suggested adding not a runner board. What's the word? Like a chair back board, bumper board, something like that. And we just don't like how that looks inside this room. Like, I get the point, doing like a two-tone or breaking it up just doesn't work for us, especially with our back accent wall. With the bed and the bed frame going there, you wouldn't even get to see it as an accent point. And it doesn't pay to do the little bits in between all the doors. It just doesn't work for our situation. We have that though in our dining nook downstairs, and we've got a deep purple on top and a white on the bottom, and it does look lovely. Just not right for this space. Oh, there was another comment about adding crown molding. We have crown molding in most of our house. However, it wouldn't look good in here because of the dormers that come down on that wall, the outside wall facing the front of the house. It would look really stupid. Maybe not something you could see on camera, but trust me, we've thought of that too. So all of these comments, really good, thought-provoking. Thank you so much for submitting them. I encourage you to submit more comments about my potential project or things that you've been doing, because I read them and they spark some good, helpful thought. Yeah, hope you like it. Let me know what you think of the shorts. I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see if they take off. We'll see. It's a new YouTube algorithm kind of thing, and I'm giving it a shot. And let me know what you think about closet organizing ideas and all of that stuff. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm just rambling now. You guys have a great day. Take care. Check out the other videos. Bye.